Every family keeps a ledger, though most never admit it. Mine was never written down. It lived in smaller things. Who got remembered? Who got asked for help? Who got forgiven? Who got used? I understood very early that my brother was loved in a way I was expected to support. My name is Claire Whitmore, and on my 44th birthday, standing alone in my kitchen in Portland with a slice of lemon cheesecake I had bought myself, I stopped pretending I didn't know it. There were no birthday calls from my parents. There never had been many. Still, some part of me checked my phone all day. Nothing. By evening, I found 3 messages on the landline, all from my mother. None saying happy birthday, each asking me to come to Connecticut Saturday. Your father wants to discuss something important about Owen. I knew before I arrived what it would be. Money had its own smell in my family. You sensed it before anyone spoke. After I called her back, I sat at my table and opened the black notebook I had carried for years. I kept records in it, not to build a case, to stop myself from rewriting reality. Dates I loaned money, holidays I spent alone, things said and later denied. Near the back was the listing I had been staring at for months. A small lake cottage in western Maine, 2 bedrooms, pine walls, old dock. I opened my banking app. My annual bonus had landed that morning. For years, every extra dollar had carried the same question. What if they need me? That night, for the first time, I asked, what if I need me? The next morning I drove north and made an offer. By afternoon, the cottage was mine. I told no one. I drove to my parents' house Saturday carrying that secret like a second heartbeat. Dinner was ordinary in the way rehearsed things are ordinary. Pot roast, wine, small talk, then dessert. Then my father folded his hands. Owen's business is in trouble. He needs $180,000. Your mother and I can't do it. You can. I remember staring at the butter dish while he spoke. A ridiculous detail. But sometimes the mind fixes itself to objects when it cannot yet face the wound. My mother said, family takes care of family. My brother said almost nothing. That hurt more than if he had argued. He expected me to agree, as if the answer had already been entered in the ledger. Then my father said, you don't have a family of your own. We're all you have. That did it. Not the money, that sentence. Something old and exhausted in me stood up. No, I said. I had imagined saying it for years. In reality, it was quiet, almost gentle. No. Silence followed. Then disbelief. Then offense, as though I had broken a rule everyone knew except me. I said no again. I left. I drove home shaking, not triumphant, sick. Because people talk about boundaries as if they feel empowering. Sometimes they feel like grief. Monday morning, my mother called. Your father had been admitted overnight. Chest pains. He wants you to come. At the hospital, he looked smaller, older. He asked me to bring him a folder from his desk at home. That was all. I almost refused, but I went. Inside the desk was a packet of property papers tied with faded ribbon, my grandmother's handwriting on top. I sat on the floor reading. Years earlier, she had amended the trust on the family shoreline property, equal shares to Owen and me. But if either beneficiary used coercion or financial pressure against the other, their portion could be challenged and reassigned. Not automatic, not some dramatic legal booby trap, but enough to open a dispute. enough to matter. Enough, maybe, to explain why my father had gone pale when I said no. I do not know whether he remembered the clause. I do not know whether he forgot. I no longer need to know. What mattered was the note attached. Claire, if you ever have to prove what has been happening, this may help. I cried harder over that note than anything else, because someone had seen. That was what undid me, not the property, being seen. I brought the papers to the hospital. My father looked at them a long time. Finally, he said, "Your grandmother worried." About what? He did not answer. That silence told me enough. We never had a dramatic confrontation, no confession, no cinematic reckoning. Life is rarely that tidy. I closed on the cottage 3 weeks later. I moved in spring. The dock needed repair, the roof leaked. I spent weekends learning things I should have learned years earlier. How to fix what belongs to you. How to live without asking permission. My brother sent one angry email. My mother still writes holiday cards as if nothing happened. My father recovered. We speak twice a year. Mostly weather. Mostly silence. People think stories like this end with victory. They do not. They end with loss arranged differently. I lost the fantasy that if I kept giving, I would someday be chosen. That was a real loss. I grieved it. Some mornings at the lake, I still think about turning the car around that Saturday, walking back into that dining room, saying yes, handing over the money, continuing exactly as before. That life remained possible. I simply did not choose it. And maybe that is the truest thing I know. Nothing dramatic changed in one moment. I changed in increments. At a kitchen counter with birthday cake. In a realtor's office signing papers. At a dinner table saying no. On a hospital floor reading my grandmother's note. People assumed the inheritance was the twist. It wasn't. The twist was discovering I had spent 40 years believing I was the debt, when I had been the one carrying everyone else's balance. That was the mistake. Not mine. Theirs. My family thought they were calling me home to finance my brother. What they actually did was force me to see the ledger clearly for the first time. And once you truly see the ledger, you stop paying into it.